Before you stand today are not mere words, but forces powerful enough to remake a life, redirect a destiny, and awaken the greatness that sleeps in every human mind. The world you see, its inventions, its wealth, its breakthroughs, was first shaped by thoughts no different from your own. But thoughts, when organized with purpose, faith, and unyielding determination, become the architecture of achievement. You are about to hear 20 ideas that have endured across generations because they speak to the deepest truth of human advancement, that success is never a matter of luck, but of law. These principles have guided leaders, builders, dreamers, and creators, and they remain as alive today as the moment they were first spoken. As you listen, do so with the understanding that each quote is a tool, a key, a spark. If you grasp even one with conviction, it can alter the direction of your life. This is not simply a collection of sayings. This is a blueprint for those who dare to think, to act, and to persist until their vision becomes reality. Prepare yourself. What you are about to receive has changed the world, and if you allow it, it will change you too. The first and most transformative truth in the pursuit of success is this: every great achievement, every remarkable creation, every breakthrough that has shaped the world began as a single thought in the mind of an individual who dared to believe in its possibility. Thought is not some passive whisper passing through the mind. It is the blueprint of destiny. It is the silent architect behind all human progress. When an idea takes hold in a mind that is determined, disciplined, and filled with belief, that idea begins to take on a life of its own. It grows roots, gathers energy, and starts shaping the actions and attitudes of the person who holds it. The power of thought is often underestimated because it feels so small, so invisible, so intangible. Yet it is this very invisibility that gives it its power. The unseen governs the seen. The internal shapes the external. What you repeatedly think, you eventually become. What you dwell on, you draw into your life. When the mind fixates on fear, limitation, or doubt, life becomes restricted and heavy. But when the mind entertains ideas of possibility, purpose, and growth, it begins to operate from a higher frequency, one that naturally attracts opportunities, solutions, and people aligned with that vision. Consider for a moment the countless innovations that have changed humanity: electricity, flight, medicine, communication, technology. None of these existed until someone held them first as a persistent thought. Someone imagined what others dismissed. Someone believed what others ridiculed. Someone saw a picture in their mind that the world could not yet see. The individual who learns to command their thoughts gains the greatest power available to any human being, the ability to shape their own future. Thoughts, however, do not operate in isolation. A thought is merely a seed. To grow, it must be given attention, emotion, and direction. A mind left to wander drifts toward doubt, worry, and the familiar patterns of yesterday. But a mind that is trained to hold a clear image, trained to reject negativity, trained to persist, becomes a force capable of bending circumstances to its will. This is not magic, nor is it wishful thinking. It is a law of human psychology and achievement. People rise or fall based on the patterns they allow to dominate their minds. The individual who constantly thinks in terms of defeat invites defeat. The one who thinks in terms of possibility awakens creativity and hope. The one who maintains a clear purpose trains their subconscious mind to search for solutions. The one who repeats thoughts of strength and capability begins to act with greater confidence. In every case, the mind is leading and life is simply following. To understand the power of thought is to take responsibility for your inner world. This means monitoring what you allow into your mind, because every thought carries a vibration, a direction, and a consequence. Thoughts grow stronger the more you feed them. A single worry, if revisited repeatedly, becomes anxiety. A small doubt, if nourished, becomes fear. But the same is true for positive forces. A small idea, if revisited daily, becomes a plan. A spark of curiosity can become mastery. A faint hope can, with repetition, transform into unshakable belief. The greatest individuals throughout history all possessed the same secret. They guarded their thoughts with intensity. They treated the mind like a garden, removing weeds and planting seeds deliberately. They understood that the mind is both a servant and a creator. If left unmanaged, it falls into old habits, old fears, old patterns. But when guided with purpose and clarity, it becomes the most powerful tool known to humanity. You can trace every success story back to a moment when someone changed the pattern of their thinking. They decided to believe in a possibility greater than their present circumstances. They decided to imagine a future that had not yet been proven. They decided to hold that thought long enough for it to alter their emotions, then their actions, and eventually their life. This keynote reminds us that mastery of thought is mastery of life. What you think repeatedly, with emotion and intention, becomes who you are and what you attract. Thoughts are the raw materials from which all achievements are built. To elevate your life, you must first elevate your thinking. One of the most fundamental truths in the pursuit of achievement is the principle that a life without clear purpose drifts aimlessly, much like a ship without a rudder. Every individual who attains extraordinary success, whether in business, art, science, or any other field, begins with a clear and definite purpose. Without this guiding star, effort, no matter how sincere or tireless, often scatters, dissipates, or produces only mediocre results. It is not enough to desire wealth, happiness, or recognition. It is not enough to hope for a better life or to wish that circumstances would change. True achievement requires definiteness of purpose. It requires the ability to say, with unwavering conviction, "This is what I intend to accomplish, and I will move toward it until it is mine." Definiteness of purpose is more than a goal written on paper or spoken aloud. It is a burning desire that takes residence in the mind and heart, shaping thoughts, decisions, and actions. It becomes the compass that directs energy, focus, and persistence. The individual who lacks this clarity often falls prey to distraction, influence, and doubt. Opportunities pass unnoticed, challenges appear insurmountable, and effort is fragmented. But the person with a definite purpose sees every challenge as a stepping stone, every setback as a lesson, and every obstacle as a test of determination. The mind becomes organized, the will becomes firm, and action becomes deliberate. History is filled with examples of ordinary people who transformed the world, not because they were born with extraordinary talent, but because they possessed a single consuming purpose. They knew exactly what they wanted, why they wanted it, and the lengths they were willing to go to achieve it. The clarity of purpose allowed them to marshal resources, attract allies, and endure hardships that would have crushed someone without direction. It is this focused energy, channeled with persistence, that separates mediocrity from greatness. The mind cannot serve two masters. When it is torn between conflicting objectives, it weakens the power of thought and dilutes effort. To harness the full potential of your abilities, you must define your purpose in precise terms. Vague aspirations lead to vague results. The individual who desires success without defining what that success looks like will likely wander indefinitely in a haze of confusion. But the person who knows exactly what they intend to achieve and who can visualize it with vivid detail can align every thought, habit, and action with that purpose. Life begins to conspire in favor of that vision, providing opportunities and ideas that would otherwise remain hidden. Definiteness of purpose also shapes character. It instills discipline, courage, and perseverance. A person with a clear purpose is not easily swayed by fear, gossip, or temporary failure. They understand that every action must serve the ultimate objective. They are prepared to make sacrifices, to endure discomfort, and to maintain focus even when the world around them seems chaotic or indifferent. Purpose gives life meaning, provides motivation, and ignites determination. Without it, the strongest effort can feel hollow, and the most brilliant plan can collapse under the weight of indecision. Every act, every thought, and every decision should be measured against the standard of purpose. Ask yourself continually, does this action serve my ultimate objective? Does this choice bring me closer to the life I intend to build? Those who practice this discipline develop a mental framework that filters distractions and channels energy into productive directions. Over time, habits form that reinforce the purpose, and success becomes the natural outcome of consistent, deliberate action. Definiteness of purpose is the bridge between imagination and reality. It turns vague desires into specific goals, wishful thinking into actionable plans, and fleeting inspiration into long-term achievement. Without it, talent may be wasted, effort misapplied, and opportunities missed. With it, even the most modest resources can be transformed into extraordinary results. It is not simply a guideline for action. It is the engine that drives the mind, the will, and the spirit toward accomplishment. The clarity of purpose is the signal that aligns thought, belief, and action into a unified force powerful enough to shape destiny. The most essential quality that separates those who accomplish greatness from those who remain ordinary is an unwavering faith in oneself. Without belief in your own abilities, talents, and potential, even the most brilliant ideas remain dormant, untested, and unrealized. Faith is not a vague hope or a casual optimism. It is a deeply rooted conviction, a certainty in the mind and heart that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. It is the engine that drives all progress, the invisible force that transforms thoughts into action and dreams into reality. Faith begins in the mind. It is a decision to think positively, to reject doubt, and to affirm one's own worth and potential. It is the practice of telling oneself repeatedly, with conviction, that success is not only possible, but inevitable if the proper steps are taken. The individual who cultivates faith in themselves does not wait for external approval, luck, or favorable circumstances. They understand that the real power lies within, and they take responsibility for their own destiny. This self-belief is contagious. Once it is firmly established, it begins to influence every aspect of one's life. It shapes behavior, strengthens resolve, and inspires courage. The person with faith in themselves approaches challenges differently. Obstacles are no longer frightening barriers, but opportunities to demonstrate skill, perseverance, and creativity. Failures are temporary setbacks, valuable lessons, not permanent defeats. The mind trained in self-belief seeks solutions rather than surrendering to problems. It moves forward when others hesitate, and it persists when others quit. Faith in oneself also attracts the support and cooperation of others. People are naturally drawn to confidence and certainty. When a person demonstrates unwavering belief in their purpose and capabilities, they inspire trust, respect, and loyalty. Opportunities that would have seemed improbable suddenly become accessible. Doors that once appeared closed begin to open. This is not coincidence. It is the law of human interaction working in harmony with the law of personal belief. Confidence communicates a clear message to the world. I am capable, and I am committed to my purpose, and the world responds accordingly. Faith, however, is not a passive state. It must be nurtured, reinforced, and practiced daily. Doubts, fears, and negative influences constantly seek to undermine it. Every person faces moments of uncertainty. When the road ahead seems unclear or success seems distant, it is in these moments that faith must be strongest, acting as an anchor that holds the mind steady. Repetition, affirmation, and focused thought strengthen faith. By regularly visualizing success, affirming one's abilities, and refusing to entertain defeatist ideas, an individual gradually builds an unshakable conviction that fuels action. The greatest achievements in history were accomplished by individuals who refused to let doubt dictate their actions. They believed in themselves when no one else did. They continued when circumstances seemed impossible. They too. Okay, steps forward, small and consistent, with faith as their guide. This inner belief gave them the courage to innovate, the perseverance to endure, and the determination to succeed where others might have faltered. Faith also expands the imagination. When a person believes in their own power to achieve, they begin to see possibilities where none seem to exist. Their mind becomes a laboratory for ideas, a creative engine capable of producing solutions to problems that would have paralyzed someone lacking confidence. This faith-driven imagination generates plans, strategies, and innovations that set the stage for success. Without belief, ideas remain unrealized. With belief, they take form, grow, and manifest in the physical world. Ultimately, faith in oneself is the cornerstone of all achievement. It transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary ones. It allows talent to flourish, ideas to materialize, and dreams to become reality. It is not merely an accessory to effort. It is the very foundation upon which effort is made effective. Without it, action may be aimless, determination may falter, and potential may remain untapped. With it, every thought, every decision, and every step becomes infused with power, purpose, and direction. Faith in oneself is the first step on the road to accomplishment, the guiding force that turns vision into reality, and the invisible engine that propels the human spirit toward greatness. No individual achieves lasting success without encountering obstacles, failures, and disappointments along the way. These moments are not signs of inadequacy or reasons to quit. They are the very stepping stones upon which achievement is built. Persistence is the quality that distinguishes those who reach their goals from those who surrender to temporary difficulties. It is the ability to continue moving forward, undeterred by failure, criticism, or delay. And it is one of the most essential traits of anyone who aspires to greatness. Every obstacle presents a choice, to see it as a roadblock or to see it as an opportunity for growth. Failure, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a teacher. Each setback contains within it a lesson, a message, and a chance to improve. The individual who understands this does not fear failure. They embrace it as part of the process of learning and progress. They recognize that the path to success is rarely straight or smooth. It is a journey filled with challenges that test determination, courage, and adaptability. Persistence is fueled by clarity of purpose and belief in oneself. Without a definite goal, it is easy to abandon effort when results are not immediate. Without faith in one's abilities, the weight of failure can crush ambition. But when purpose is clear and belief is strong, obstacles lose their power to deter. The persistent individual views failure as a temporary condition, a signal to adjust methods, refine skills, or approach problems from a new angle. They understand that success is not measured by the absence of setbacks, but by the ability to continue despite them. History is filled with examples of people who refused to quit when faced with adversity. Inventors, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders often endured years of rejection and hardship before achieving their breakthroughs. What separated them from those who gave up was not necessarily greater talent, wealth, or intelligence. It was persistence. They continued to act, to refine, and to pursue their goals with unwavering determination. Each failure strengthened their resolve, sharpened their understanding, and brought them closer to eventual success. Persistence also requires patience. Achievement does not always come in the time frame we desire. Immediate results are rare, and circumstances
often seem to conspire against progress. Yet the persistent individual knows that each effort, however small, contributes to eventual victory. Consistency, repeated action, and steady dedication accumulate over time to produce results far
beyond what could be imagined at the outset. The key is to maintain effort, to resist discouragement, and to trust that the journey itself is shaping skills, character, and opportunity. Criticism, opposition, and doubt from others are also inevitable companions on the path to success. Many abandon their goals because they listen to voices of negativity or fear the judgment of others. Persistence requires ignoring these external pressures and staying committed to one's own vision. It is the ability to move forward with confidence even when the world doubts, ridicules, or resists. The persistent individual transforms criticism into insight, skepticism into motivation, and resistance into determination. Persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is intelligent, purposeful, and adaptable. It involves learning from mistakes, adjusting strategies, and seeking new approaches when necessary. It requires self-discipline, resilience, and the courage to continue, even when immediate rewards are not evident. Every setback becomes a stepping stone, every obstacle a challenge to overcome, and every delay an opportunity to strengthen skill, character, and understanding. Those who cultivate persistence develop a mindset that sees opportunity in adversity, strength in struggle, and possibility in difficulty. They understand that life's greatest achievements are rarely accomplished in a straight line, and that enduring success is built upon the foundation of repeated effort in the face of obstacles. The persistent individual does not quit, does not waver, and does not surrender to temporary defeat. They move forward relentlessly, confident that every challenge, every failure, and every moment of difficulty is preparing them for the success they are destined to achieve. Persistence transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary accomplishment. It ensures that talent, knowledge, and opportunity are not wasted. It allows vision to overcome limitation, courage to surpass fear, and determination to triumph over circumstance. Without persistence, the greatest ideas remain unrealized, the finest abilities untapped, and the most promising paths unexplored. With it, every setback becomes a lesson, every failure a teacher, and every obstacle a stepping stone to achievement. Success is not an accident, a matter of luck, or a privilege reserved for a select few. It follows laws, patterns, and principles that can be studied, understood, and applied by anyone willing to learn and act. Every individual who has